everyone, welcome to Lex Talk World Talk Show presented by Clicker with Creators. Today we have Aarti Venkat with us. Aarti is a senior advisor in data privacy, legal, and product at Signedesk. She formerly was a practicing advocate in Delhi. She possesses substantial and highly applicable work experience. Her primary areas of specialization are technology law, corporate law, and data privacy laws. She has been quoted in her areas of expertise by numerous news and media agencies such as The Week. Wow. She has previously delivered numerous webinars on topics ranging from video-based customer identification procedure and loan digitization to the role digitization in the Indian financial and legal sector. Apart from being an expert in data privacy, she's an avid reader and she loves to sing. So without any further ado, let me just introduce you to Aarti. Hello Aarti, how are you?
Hi, Bharti. I think probably like I'm in Bangalore, so I think all days are rainy and good. So yeah, one of those days today.
That's lovely. It's raining like crazy in Delhi as well. Heavens have opened, I guess. Uh, so great, lovely weather, lovely conversation. It should be then. So Aarti, please brief us about your journey as a legal professional so far.
So I don't think like I landed in legal profession as my first choice, to be very honest. So it was one of my considerations. There was journalism which I was considering before, discussing or thinking about legal profession as such. But once I entered the profession, there was no looking back. I was taken to it like crazy individual would. Like that passion. Like there was an like amazing amount of passion which I had. Luckily for me, from my first internship, where I continued to do my job also after that for like 2 years, I got one of the most amazing mentors you can get in a legal industry. And I would like to take his name, Mr. Sharma, Mr. Narendra Sharma. He is one of the most amazing mentors you get in the industry. It's not easy to, if you know the legal industry, to get good mentors. And as a first-gen lawyer, to get that amazing exposure into this entire industry was a blessing for me. Once I finished that internship and I learned a lot of drafting from him, a lot of other important etiquettes and skills and company law from Mr. Sharma. I moved on to Menon and Associates, another beautiful and amazing human being I worked with. I learned a lot from him, and he gave me my first break. And after 2 years, I got to appear before Supreme Court in a matter, High Court in multiple matters, before senior advocates and stalwarts in the industry. So that confidence, that boom of confidence I got from that particular company was very huge for a young person like me at that point of time. It was a huge boost of confidence. So when I moved to Bangalore, there was no idea of moving to Bangalore. By the way, I loved litigation, I loved Delhi, but love makes you do weird things. So I got married and I moved to Bangalore. And then again, there is a language barrier, and I did not know Kannada very well. I'm not a Kannadiga by birth, so Kannada was an issue. So I thought like, let's not go into litigation right away. And then I went for an interview with the current company I'm at, two of the most amazing founders you can get, from a team of 7 people at that time. Today we are 140 people. So I have been setting up the legal practice for this company. Not practice, it's a reg tech startup. It started with it was a legal tech startup. Now it's a reg tech startup. They have changed products. They have expanded their team, and luckily I'm still there. And from starting off from just doing the basic groundwork to what I am today, I think I owe it to a lot of people for wherever I am today. So that's a little bit about my legal journey.
Thank you so much, Aarti, for throwing light on your journey. Please tell us about the challenging situations, so
Excuse me.
like any one challenging situation that you might have faced, or in which you had to apply your legal skills and technical knowledge at the same time.
So basically my role, like I said, it's a reg tech company. So regulatory and technology go hand in hand. So like every day for me is a combination of, reading a multiple laws, whether it be Aadhaar Act, IT Act, and, any new sectoral laws which come into picture, RBI's regulations, VCIP regulations, e-sign regulations, and explaining it to the technology team. So, according to what you asked me the question, like whatever the question was, ideally for me, every day is like that. I mean, I cannot tell you one challenging situation. My day, how it looks in the morning to how it looks in the evening, looks very different. Like there are hundreds of laws, and talking to the technical team, which I never knew before. Like I have learned some terms of technology which I never knew. I never knew API existed. I did not know what API was. I did not know what tech stack was. I did not know what cloud was. All I knew was a blue color cloud. And the first time I heard about cloud was once I entered this company. So over a period of time, every day is like a mix and match of technology and law for me.
So thank you so much, Aarti. Although I was really looking forward to, listen to a particular situation because that's like my one of the favorite questions. But moving on with data privacy, which is your expertise. So how do you look at data privacy in 2021, and how do you think it's going to change 5 years down the line?
So I think I'll probably talk about this LinkedIn post I wrote a few months back. I think, I actually think that data was never important in our country. Our country never thought about data along, like if you even see 3-4 years back, it was only the software companies and, companies or technology companies, the multinational corporations who really cared about privacy. They're the only people who really cared about privacy because they used to operate in multiple jurisdictions. So across the world, the data privacy laws came much before the GDPR came into picture, which is basically a European law with respect to data privacy. And multinational companies are very much aware of this. We are used to doing the business way of, the local kirana shop person, the local kirana shop person is invited to our weddings. He was the, prime like repository of all information going on, whether kaun ghar aaya, kaun ghar nahi jaya, kiska kiske saath chal raha hai, like those are the things which the kirana shop guys generally cared about, right? So for us, the concept of data privacy is very new. But now the consumers have started realize that every data point of them is actually money. So, there is a monetary value behind the data which they own, which they operate. And this particular data has become so important that even the companies and corporates know that now if you do not take care of this, they will be in news. So whether it be instances of Facebook breaching privacy or WhatsApp breaching privacy, or, allegations or truth or allegations, whatever it is, let's put it out there and open. But people have started caring about these things. They know that, okay, there is data, there is payment data. So there are a lot of data points which are there, which are come into existence. And as of 2021, people now know about it. Now, if you ask me 5 years down the line, India is been on the bill stage of the law for quite some time now. And I hope that becomes an act soon, that I hope India takes that personal data protection bill and converts it into an act very, very soon. While there are other countries, there is US, which has come up with multiple data protection act. Every state has started coming up with their own personal data protection act. Other South Asian countries are also like way, way far ahead of us when it comes to personal data protection. I think it is time we take that into consideration. 2-3 reasons. One, because it is high time the consumer becomes the owner of the data. So today, if I'm getting messages from random companies about random things which I never asked for, and I give my there was this hospital form I was filling up a few months back, I think. So one of the hospital form's requirement was my religion. Now, as a person, it really doesn't matter to the hospital which religion I belong to, but that's the data point they collect. So considering that these small things have to make a change, these changes have to be done so that, I think we'll see a better 5 year down the line. It will be a better marketplace, both for the companies as well as the individuals, I think.
Well said. Thank you, Aarti, for throwing light on that. Now coming to, so you are an IAPP certified privacy professional, right? So tell us if and how you have been able to implement the learnings of IAPP to the functioning of your organization, of your company.
So IAPP, again, like I said, CIPPE is one of the very recognized data privacy certifications. And considering that CIPPE, that's a European data protection, is the primary data protection law when it comes to Europe is considered. So our company was trying to venture into the European region. And that's when, we started, like, we are a company which caters to banks and NBFCs primarily. So when the questionnaires of, banks and NBFCs used to come, there's something called as a vendor assessment, right? every company is assessed as to, how fit they are for us to, for them to give us their business. So at that point of time, there are vendor assessments, and your questions come about how is your data privacy like? How do you protect the consumer data? So that is when, my interest sparked in this entire subject, where I took it upon myself to figure out a way to get the company certified, to make sure that tomorrow, if such requests come, we are able to abide by it. So we deal with a lot of sensitive data. We do. I mean, we have transactions which include biometric data of the customer also. So it was very important for us to get things in place. And that's the reason, in fact, why I, pursued the IAPP certification, because out of personal interest, because one, I needed to grow as a professional, and second, for the company, because they have been I keep joking that, I have a relationship with my husband for the past 6 years, so, and also with the company for the past 6 years. So it's almost at the same pedestal. I keep both of them. So for that, I had to do the certification, and I got them GDPR certified. I mean, I got this entire certification done for this company completely. Now our processes are in place, and when the banks and NBFCs, even in India, when they see that we are GDPR certified, we have some processes in place, it just gives us a lot of more trust. And also our company itself gets more trust that, we will be able to take care of the data of our customers. So that's the, crux of my answer to this question.
Thank you, Aarti, yet again. So regulatory technology space is relatively very new in India, right? As a lawyer, how do you think and how do you strike a balance between the role of being a legal advisor and product advisor at the same time?
So basically, like I said, my designation itself is, data privacy, legal and product advisor. And for me, it's a completely new role to do also. Like, it's a completely new company. Like, this kind of an area itself is very new for India, where there are regulations where in all sectors. So we deal with insurance sector, banking sector. We deal with, like I said, data privacy as one of our core of our areas also. And we deal with a lot of banks, we deal with a lot of NBFCs. So the products which are developed are developed keeping in mind these particular industries and sectors. So if I have to help the product team build something, I mean, I have never been involved in something like that. I was a litigating advocate, right? I mean, I'm used to just going and defending the client's case. I'm not used to telling the client what to do, to get the product in compliance. So not only the product needs to be in compliance, that's not my only job, but I have sometimes need to analyze, the law and tell them what exactly the product needs to have and which the product should not have. For me, this is completely new. Like, I was not used to this, but then now I love doing it. I mean, the best thing about is this, no 2 days are the same for me. One day in the morning, if I'm doing something relating to data privacy, in the afternoon, probably you will find me doing some product meeting, telling the team, okay, fix this, this black button should be in the left hand side, the red button should not be here. These are the features you can provide. And probably by the evening, I would be doing some labor law discussion with the HR, which basically is the legal person's job to do, the HR related. You tell the HR what to do, you tell the sales team, negotiating agreements with the client. But coming from the background that I do the product advisory also, because it's primarily a legal tech or a reg tech product, I also sit in like sales pitches sometimes with the team to do all that also. And the one thing is, good thing for me from this is that I've learned a lot of like, that one thing which a lawyer needs is the ability to sell himself or herself, not sell like in the bad term of the way, but to, promote yourself and talk about yourself more. So I think I have learned that from this. And probably what I could give back is the confidence of a lawyer. Like, a lot of product values when you have, you as a lawyer represent and sit with the team, people tend to listen more carefully, and they tend to believe you more because it's a reg tech product. So they like having a lawyer to talk to. So considering that, I love that my day is like full of like different things, whether it be from legal tech to reg tech to, proper advisory role. I think it's an amazing field and area to be in. And for anybody looking to join this area, I think there's nothing better, like there are challenges every day and no 2 days look the same. So yeah.
Well, that sounds easy, but I'm sure that is not as easy as it sounds. At the same time, how do you get time for yourself, Aarti? I mean, like, you're doing a lot of things
Yeah.
for your organization at the same time. You're handling a lot of things at the same time. So how do you take out time for you? Like, you're
So
very much into reading,
yeah.
singing, traveling. So traveling is out of the picture. Sorry, COVID. Thanks for COVID. But how do you take out time for yourself and for the hobbies that you have?
So the good thing about my job is, I think one of the best things which I have enjoyed is that, initially it was all work and no play for the first 2-3 years till the time the company was getting established. So us time pe to matlab phone utha ke you have to call your clients also at times. So that also used to be the case. But now, since the team is expanded to that extent, like I get a lot of time for myself. I'll be very honest, honest here. So it's that's the thing. Like I need to keep myself apprised of what is happening in the outside world also. Like I need to know what is the data protection regulation, what are the other countries doing. So I need to keep myself free to update myself with a lot of things happening, so that tomorrow if some question comes up, I'm able to answer and help the company in a better way. So for that extent, I keep my time open. And since I love traveling, and that I'm kind of addicted to traveling, so every weekend you will find us not at home. So we will definitely be outside somewhere. Lucky, and fortunately or unfortunately, Bangalore is blessed with these places very nearby, so I can take off like the weekend breaks and go off. So my bosses do make fun of me sometimes, stating that we have not seen so many places in Karnataka like you have seen. So considering that, I think I'd take out enough time, and I think that is important. If till the time you are rejuvenated for the next day at work, it's difficult to do it at that your own pace. You need your time for self development, and if you're not working on yourself, you're not going to be much use to your company after some time. You can burn out very easily.
I hope my bosses listen to this.
Play it again for them.
No, I'm just kidding. I get a lot of time. So it's just that, few years, like this is the time to work hard and everything. So
I agree.
so sorry, do not shut me out. I love
Increment band mat kar dena,
I
please.
love my bosses. They love me so much. Everything is good. All right. Okay, Aarti, sadly, we have come to an end of this conversation, but I would really like to thank you for sharing such great insights with us. And even I got to learn a lot, like words, terms that I haven't heard of, like ever, and I was able to understand all of that. So that's pretty amazing. We really look forward to having a chat with you again on some other trending topics in the legal space. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Aarti, I'm sure you will. Please like and share this video, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry legal leaders. This is Bharti for Lex Talk signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.